anybody have any questions for Leah? Okay. Engineers report, Mike Flickinger. Task order number 14, Westerville City School District, Minerva Park School Plan Review. They are currently waiting for the school district to submit its proposal for widening plan of Farview. So that still has not been received, and as soon as it is received, they will review the plan. Task order number 15, 2021 Storm Sewer Improvement Project, no additional update from the previous council meeting. This one, basically, the pipe is delayed and we will get moving on that as soon as possible. Storm Sewer Improvement Project 2022, Resource International delivered electronic files for their survey work on December 9th, and they are incorporating the latest survey data into the storm sewer hydraulic model to analyze potential concepts and finalize recommended pipe sizes before proceeding with the final detail. And then task order number 21 is the 2021 storm sewer CCTV analysis, and at this time there's no additional updates. Basically that is all, that ball's in our court. So that's something that then whoever is leading the streets will have a lot to start with. And that is Mike's engineer report. Anybody have any questions for Mike or me? Awesome. Good, because I probably can't answer. All right, and Jesse is also excused tonight. I don't have anything at this time for him.
I believe according to his email, he did point out that the
Yes.
insurance changes are fine and legal.
Yes, I was gonna get to that during that
Okay.
report.
Okay, you just said I don't have anything from
But you know what?
from
You already-
Jesse, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, you already answered it, so, but yes, that legislation should be fine to move forward. He just wanted to, Saturday we talked about that, he just wanted to quadruple check everything. Let's move over to planning and zoning, councilperson Tony Benintendi.
Well, we didn't have a meeting, so there's nothing to report.
Awesome. All right, let's move over to village planning, Eric Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor. As per my report to council on this past Saturday's work session, the only major item here in December is that the school district is moving forward with the middle school site. They are putting in all their permits at this time with the building department and proceeding to get that structure built. And as I reported and noted, they're going through some right-of-way permits with us and the city of Columbus as they're locating their water line underneath the 161, which will be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll get to it, I'm sure. That's all I got.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions for Eric? Zoning officer's report has been put in the packet. So I don't know if anybody's looked at it or if anybody has any questions. Feel free to email me, feel free to email John if you have any questions, comments, concerns about that. And let's move to my mayor's report. And so I haven't given a mayor, I've been very basic the last couple weeks, so I'm actually gonna use a couple minutes to go over the end of year 2021 since we're at the last meeting. And really I just wanna kind of say thank you to a lot of different people. So first, Tony, thank you for your 4 years serving on planning and zoning. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and I'm sure we're gonna see you around. Also, I know Joe's not here tonight, same thing. He's served the last couple of years on, obviously, council, so that has been great to work with him as well. Diane, again, thank you for everything you've done as far as leading the facility building. You've done that for quite a while now, helped with the newsletter. I know you've offered to continue to do that as well, and I'm obviously thankful for that because it's one less thing that I have to worry about. And then also bringing to light the text blast. I know that seems very minor, but that's something that I really wanted to see happen over the last couple of years, and I know we've talked about it for a long time before it actually happened. So again, thank you guys for everything. David, I would like to say thank you to, but he stuck with me for 4 more years. So, and then also you guys, I mean, obviously Mark and Brian for the last year. I know it's been with COVID and everything. I hate Zoom meetings more than life itself, but we made it through that at least, and that's as good as that gets. Chief, obviously this year has been a lot with COVID, 2 years in a row. So thank you for everything you guys do, the entire police department, our new lieutenant, sergeant. I know it's been tough with being down a couple officers for everybody, but we're on the upswing of that now. So again, just thank you for everything you do. Our maintenance team, which is basically Brian and a part-time, another part-time person, being able to get all of the grass cut in the new development and all of that without complaining to me every day has been awesome. The pool did amazing this year. John, every single year, I don't know how he does it or why he does it, but he does it, he does an amazing job. The lifeguard, the office staff, everybody down there, obviously without them, the pool doesn't open. Barb, our administrative assistant, I almost feel like I don't even have to do anything anymore. So every time I email her, she's already done it. So same thing with Leah. As soon as I pick up the phone and say, what about this, it's already done. She pretty much, this place does not run without the two of you. As far as everything financially and the clerk, just everything that you do, I cannot say thank you enough. So, and obviously Kim being in the background, I know helps every single one of us. She is definitely the boss. And Eric, just with MI Homes, finishing that out, the new schools, you help me more than you know. And then Mike and Jesse's not here. I know we have a lot of people that work with us, but Mike and Jesse are like the two that I feel like we work with. Good and bad. I know normally we cringe when we get an email from either one. I'm looking at Leah on that one because Mike knows that we cringe as soon as we get an email from him. But working with those, just again, it makes our life so much easier knowing, having the trust that we have with them and knowing that all of these projects continue to move forward. So again, just thank you to everybody that's here. I'm sure I missed a lot of people. I know Jen works with Brian. I don't know if I said that, but everybody has helped so much this year, and again, we're finally, I feel like, getting on the other side of the whole COVID thing. So, and I did miss one, and I even have him on my list. And John, I know it's difficult to come and step into code enforcement, but he has taken on the role and definitely helped my life and Eric's life this year by just getting out there and getting the grass notices out. So that's like my big thing, everybody knows that. So, and then to our new council, I know not everybody's here. Looking forward to next year. I know that there's gonna be a lot of changes. I'm looking forward to getting a lot of these projects moving forward. In 2022, I know January, February, March is gonna be insanely busy for all of us to be prepared for that. I know everybody's gonna get off and running. So just looking to work with all of our new council next year. So that's that. I guess I could say this old business, new business or everything, but again, just happy holidays to everybody and looking forward to next year. So that's that. That's my report. I'm assuming nobody has any questions for me about that. Awesome.
I'd just like to add on, I'd like to thank Barb for being able to figure out how to put into words the points I try to express in the minutes. I think you're doing a great job. I know that's got to be one of the most trickier parts of filling out the minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She definitely has a hard task there, to say the least. Sorry, maybe that wasn't nice. All right, so that's my mayor's report. Again, I can't say thank you to everybody enough for keeping this village running. So let's go to the council committee reports. As I said, David is not here. We will come back to him if he so chooses. I know in the last Saturday work session, I don't feel like there was too much going on there. I know he's looking forward to getting rolling next year. So let's go straight over to Brian for the finance.
Real quick, Mayor Hughes, if I could interrupt regular order, because I actually did have a question for Chief that I just didn't get to on this thing.
Perfect.
Are we back up to full staff now, or we still have hires coming along?
So we are fully hired. We just got two people still going through their FTO.
Okay.
So once they get through that field training, one guy came from another county, so it's taking a little bit longer adjustment. One guy's from the county, so he's already familiar with a lot of the way we do things, and with municipal court and concrete. So his training's going a little better, a little faster, I guess I should say. And so hopefully here in 3-4 weeks we will be fully running.
Awesome, that's great news, thanks. Okay, sorry about that, go ahead.
All right, Brian.
All right, so at Finance Committee's last meeting, we chiefly discussed our excitement for bringing on the financial advisors. The council approved the contract for so that we are gonna use that service to look at financing options for upcoming projects regarding community building, lake dredging, and potentially pool. We also discussed the 2022, budget. And the only primary change, because that's on tonight's legislation, was adding a bit to set aside for ongoing pool maintenance, so that we wouldn't be surprised and not have appropriations ready should and when those needs come up. And I look forward to, dealing with Finance Committee next year. And the last thing for my report, at the work session, Tony, you had asked where in our financial planning and the 5-year forecast the funds for debt service on the building are, and they are in fact in the debt service line item. So for 2022, we have $122,617 in the forecast for debt services, and that is building. And you'll see that same number for 23, 24, and 25.
So when you say that, the only thing that's really going up is the 7,500 for the pool,
Yeah, that's the only change to the budget.
well, and so that
Meaning
means that the
from the-
budget's staying the same as last year?
No, that's not what I said. I said from the initial budget that we read, from the first reading
Oh.
to tonight's reading, the only change
Gotcha.
is that number. Okay,
Any
and that's
other
it.
questions for Brian? All right, streets, Joe is not here, and honestly, I don't think there was too much to report on streets. We've just been, waiting for 2022 to get some of those projects rolling. So, let's move over to MPCA, Councilperson Diane Trim.
Okay, let's see, I think, David had given an update.
I think you did too.
He did.
But, let me just, we did have a meeting in December. Of course, you've seen some of the activities that MPCA has completed with the carriage rides and all that. But and the children's Christmas party all seemed to be very successful. There still is the Luminators.
Luminaires.
What?
Luminaires.
Luminaires. Okay. Something like that.
Luminaries.
Something.
Luminaries.
Luminaries. There we
That's
go.
That's what they call it.
Little bags of
Little
sand,
bags of sand and-
candles, and you light them. They're beautiful. Those things.
So they, Abra Greenberg is selling those. So there's the luminary sales going on, and I guess there will be luminaries that are placed around the entrances as well. So there's people involved in doing that. There's also currently ongoing, I think, through the 21st, through the end of next weekend. There'll be representatives of Minerva Flora who are voting on best lighting displays, and they'll come up with their picks, which probably won't make the January newsletter, will probably make the February newsletter at this point. So, but anyway, that's also going on. And of course, if you won last year, you can't win this year. I guess that's one of the rules. So. Anyway, so that is going on.
That's fine.
And of course, we have the Tributes of Membership. We still, please, if you have not, if we know a lot of people have been members last year who has still not paid their dues for this year, we certainly would welcome, appreciate, and be very grateful, thankful if you would renew your membership. We're about 50% there in terms of that. I think that's it.
Right. Then you're up next for communication too.
For communication, we haven't had, excuse me, we haven't had a communication meeting this last month. The newsletter will be coming out at its usual time in January. And we did discuss another way to communicate using the website where people could, our administrative assistant Barbara is going to assist with that. I believe we're going to have some discussion of how feasible this is. But the idea is that people could go on the website and there would be a place where they could register to receive updates on specific topics. The topics would be listed. So let's say anytime there is something posted on the website about, for example, finance or facilities or something like that, there would be a keyword that would then generate an email to that person notifying them that they should go take a look and see what's going on. And so we're thinking, as far as communications, that'll be something that will be bridging on to next year. But hopefully it can be, if we're gonna do it, it'll get it done in January. So that's it.
Awesome. Okay, Tony Benedetti for safety.
Once again, no meeting, no report. Moving right along.
All right, legislation, let's get to Councilperson Mark Bruger.
Okay, we did not have a legislative meeting this month, mostly because I knew we were having a work session just this past Saturday, right up to it. I didn't think anything new would come along, and nothing did. We'll get to the only legislation that's currently sort of pending, for anyone that hasn't been read yet, hasn't been finalized, is we are looking at our sign ordinances and what kind of signs you can put in your yard and what kind of signs businesses can put in their front windows for the businesses that are in the village. But as of yet, that has not been really negotiated or discussed in committee, and will be coming in the new year. That's all the committee's up to. Now to our legislation for,
I just wanted
oh,
to
go ahead.
remind that one of the things we talked about this in the fall was trees. And Eric, I had asked if there's possible that we could add some language in terms of code enforcement or regarding the management of trees on property lines, etc. This was related to the one that was in someone's yard. That's what started the discussion. And what control does the village have when it's, we said if it's in someone's yard, it's between the two residents. But then we said, well, what if it's dead, or what if it is truly dead, or it's an endangered? So you had suggested that other municipalities had tried to, or have done something along that line, and we have so many trees in the park, that it might be worthwhile to look at some language about that, but we never did.
Okay.
No, I appreciate that. We can, appreciate the reminder. Had a lot of little things come up. We can bring it forward to legislative committee in January.
Well, I'm happy on that. I was talking to someone who I think got a thing on that, because he had just recently moved into the village, had a tree that was, he knew it was kind of dead and kind of ignored it, and then a branch fell off, a pretty big one, luckily didn't hit anything. And then got the letter saying, you need to take that down, and he did point out, like, I was like, what do you mean they're gonna tell me how to do that? And he was like, they got me off my butt and I did it. Because I know it needed to be done. I had a giant dead tree, a 40-foot tall dead tree that could have fallen on my house at any minute. So as someone, mind you, who has removed 3 trees in the past 24 months, I do know that is often, though, very expensive.
It is very expensive, indeed.
And I probably spent about
That's why it
$8,000.
starts to fall under an insurance company thing.
No, we weren't talking about that. We were talking about, there are areas where it may be just,
Like imminent
right
danger
between
of
two.
falling into somebody's house.
It would be a way for us to enforce someone, much like we can do if there's a tree that's gonna fall onto public property, public easement, or can cause damage or injure or kill someone. We can call it a hazard tree, we can force the owner to take that down, or we can act upon it within a certain amount of time and then lien the property. That's one way to handle it. This is a little different, in which we've got 2 private property owners. If we feel something's imminently dangerous, we could act upon it in that same way, perhaps with a different process. So something I'll talk to Jesse, we'll see, I'll compare it to other municipalities, there are some examples, and we'll bring something to legislation that we're comfortable with.
All right, anyone else got anything to add or bring out? Okay, let's move on to our legislative voting session tonight. Starting with ordinance 16, 2021, an ordinance updating the employee handbook and declaring an emergency. This is a third reading, so it does not need to be waived, and we do have enough to pass as an emergency if everyone agrees, I believe.
It's the same number to pass as an emergency.
There we go. This updates our holidays, correct?
Correct.
Holiday pay and adds June 19th as a recognized holiday.
Yes.
I move it's passed, and we are asking to declare an emergency since we have so many holidays coming up in January. In the next 30 days, we wanna get that passed in time.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Alright, Mary Hughes?
All right. Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Councilperson Berger.
Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
And Councilperson Sharp.
Aye.
Alright, passed. Okay, ordinance 17, 2021, an ordinance to make appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Minerva Park for the year ending December 31st, 2022. This is the 2022 budget. This is also a third reading, so I'm gonna move to pass it, please.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Okay. Councilperson Berger.
Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Councilperson Sharp.
Aye.
And Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Okay.
Alright, moving right along, ordinance 18, 2021, an ordinance establishing healthcare benefits for employees and the mayor and authorizing the purchase of health insurance and declaring an emergency. This has to be done, every 2 years to make sure we can get, insurance.
Correct.
The biggest change is this will allow limited coverage for certain part-time employees who make the requirements for that. That coverage would only be for them, they could not put any other family members on it. I believe as projected right now, perhaps one of our part-time employees would avail themselves of that. That's the particulars there. Third reading, I move to pass it.
Second.
All right.
Any discussion, anyone? Alright,
Councilperson Sharp.
Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Councilperson Berger.
aye. Alright, moving on to ordinance 19, 2021, an ordinance updating the wage and salary ranges, the number of employees and positions for the Village of Minerva Park. Tiffany, would you like to talk about any other little changes in here before we move to pass?
Not really. The only thing I think that really increased was for a 3% increase for, one employee. But the other salary, the low pay on the police officers is now higher, but the highest rate did not change. And then other than that, the only other thing that increased was due to minimum wage.
Okay, third reading, and I will move to pass.
Second.
Hang on, now you're asking.
Anyone, any discussion on this? Alright, I think we're ready.
Okay, Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp.
Aye.
Councilperson Berger.
Aye.
Okay.
Alright, moving on to ordinance 20, 2021, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expenses of the Village Park for the year 2021. This is the end of the year budget closeout essentially. For those of you watching at home, at the end of the year we look back and see areas where we spent more than we thought we were going to or less than we thought we were going to, and we reconcile the budget to that. Is that correct, Leah?
Correct.
Awesome, so I understand that process now, that's good.
Only took 2 years.
Yeah. I think I probably understood it before. Third reading, I will move for passage.
Second.
Alright,
Any discussion? All right, go ahead.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilperson Berger,
Aye.
Councilperson Sharp,
Aye.
Council President Moore.
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Alright, now before the reading of the next piece of legislation, we have 2 residents who have submitted green cards to speak on this. So I will invite Anoop Shrestha to the podium. Give us your name, your address, and then you got 3 minutes.
And I will just say before that, this is 2021-36, a resolution adopting the rules of council.
No, what, 32?
Uh,
Like my toy.
Yeah, 2021-36.
36.
Right?
That's on this agenda, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the agenda wrong.
no,
No? Okay.
I'm looking at the agenda.
36.
What happened to,
36.
are we, is that ordinance or still
That's
resolution?
resolution.
What happened to 32? Did I?
What was it?
It
Well,
was the,
32 is the contract thing, and I don't see it on here, nor do I see it in my
it said it
packet.
was passed on December 14th, I mean. It was-
Oh, yeah, we passed it as amended. We crossed out 2 people on it. The
Yeah.
Pass it.
Yeah, we crossed the
flow line and flow line and,
Isn't, oh, okay. I see.
Oh, Resource International.
I got it, alright.
thanks, Bart.
All right.
So can we first state that, what we are talking about?
Oh, yeah, this is, rules for council, for the council of the village of Minerva Park, is what we're about to talk on, and we have 2 people who'd like to give their opinions on it. Yay.
My name is Anup Shrestha. I live in 2764 Old Vista Drive here in Minerva Park. I recently heard about council who will not be or will be voting for removing or keeping the Pledge of Allegiance in the beginning of the meeting. So I wanted to say something about that. I came in this country in the year 2008, and for last 14 years, I have nothing but gratitude and very thankful for this country for giving me all the freedom of expression that I have, or all my views that I can express freely. So I'm very thankful for that, and I'm on my way to earn my citizenship, and I will be proudly sing the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and to this country. So I feel like Pledge of Allegiance should not be removed, because it's the way, for me, at least the way I see it, is the way to show respect and loyalty to this country, which has given us this platform to express our views and give justice to everybody. So since the whole point of council is to help the residents give justice or have their voice, that's the whole point of having this council. So I don't think we should remove it. It actually, we should be proud of doing it every time. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
your time.
for
Thank
letting us hear your thoughts. And we had a second green card for the same subject. Nicole Shrestha, please find your way up to the podium, give us your name, your address, and you got 3 minutes.
I am Nicole Shrestha. I live at 2764 Alder Vista. And again, I just kind of want to hit on this, and I had never heard of that, so of course it's got to be the last meeting right before I'm sworn in that I have to come in and have a disagreement. Otherwise, I would have said it before, I promise, guys. When we think of the Pledge of Allegiance, I don't know, can I first ask a question? Can I do that?
But you can.
Okay, so what was the exact problem with the pledge, and how many people? I did hear that David McNamara received emails. How many? I mean, when we've heard that
To
there's
the best of my
issues.
knowledge, he received 1. And the problem, so I will share you, I'm the one who, this is not my first time suggesting this change. The Pledge of Allegiance is not a foundational document to this country. It was created by a marketer who made American flags, who used it as a tool to convince schools to buy more flags. Because if you tell your kids you gotta stand up every day and say a thing, staring at a flag, you gotta buy flags. So it doesn't have the greatest history, in my opinion. Secondly, there's a line in it, one nation under God. That line was added during McCarthy era Red Scare, right? That also doesn't have a great history. Along with that, I personally am an atheist. So for me to swear anything under a God is complete nonsense. And so those are my 3 reasons. Oh, and then lastly, again, in my opinion, we in this room do the business of the Village of Minerva Park, right? And it is my opinion that while we are obligated to do the do the business of the Village of Minerva Park in compliance with federal law, we should not do that as a matter of obeisance to federal law. Meaning, our business is not a matter of obeying the federal law. We should do what's best for the Village of Minerva Park, regardless. And so those are and so I don't believe bringing a federal allegiance into this process is appropriate. Those are my thoughts.
Okay, so when I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I don't, first off, I'm Buddhist, so, I don't think of it as prayer. I know all of our surrounding community villages does it, all, they open their meetings. What I'm saying is Pledge of Allegiance means I pledge, allegiance is a citizen that honors their government. That's important. It sets the tone for our meetings. I mean, this is a government building. Liberty and justice for all. Our council people are to be up here to bring those exact things to all of our residents. I just think it's important. The setting the tone, taking it, a lot of sacrifices have been made to be able to say that. And a lot of people that disagree, they're allowed to disagree, but let's remember why you have that right to disagree to begin with. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. I just had to say, you guys are gonna vote regardless, and I respect that, and I respect all your opinions. I just wanted to say something.
And I would like to say that, thank you for speaking up on that, and I totally agree with you. And I'm hoping that these council rules can be voted on today, but they can be changed in the next council meeting as well. And so I'm hoping that perhaps there will be a majority, once a new council is seated, to be able to put the Pledge of Allegiance back in. That's my opinion on that.
That was the last thing I was gonna add on that, is that, Nikki, you do have the honor of being on this body next year, and if that's something you feel strongly about, should these changes pass, you can raise it as early as the first work session in January.
You got some on your docket already.
All right, Councilperson Berger.
All right, so that was our only 2 speakers, Ed?
If I could,
Oh, sure.
what did we decide on the citizens'
Who's
comment?
doing the,
Well, hold on.
Let me
Are we in
finish,
discussion?
let me
We are
finish
not in
introducing
discussion.
and we'll get to
This was
discussion.
before.
Yeah, Council President Wolf let them go before we had our discussion, which I thought was a nice way to do it, so our discussion can be,
That's what we're.
yeah,
No,
informed
he
by
hasn't
that.
actually read the legislation.
Yeah, a resolution adopting the rules of council for the council of the Village of Minerva Park for 2022. This is resolution 2021-36. This will be a 3rd reading, and as such, I am going to move to pass it.
All right, second.
It has been moved and seconded, and now Tony, discussion.
There we go.
All right.
What was decided for the citizen comments?
Yep, where it landed, by my recollection, and I guess we have it in front of us, we could read if I recollect it wrong, but that we made it 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes, but there is one citizen's comment section after all of the reports and before legislation is read. So it allows a resident the opportunity to hear everything that's been said that is the business portion of the meeting, be aware of, by virtue of the agenda, be aware of what's on the legislative agenda, and speak to any and all of those things.
Oh, I think that sucks.
Okay, and citizens' comments, I was gonna pull it up, but I guess I can just ask. So citizens' comments has been struck from the bottom of the actual
Yes.
agenda?
Yes.
For the, okay.
Yes, it's one shot at an opportunity to comment.
So it actually
It is
just,
5
it's gonna
minutes.
say it right here, right before legislation.
Yeah.
It does not give the citizen an opportunity to comment on the legislation.
Of course it does.
Yes, it does, they can comment on anything they want prior to
But if there's
legislation.
a discussion in the middle of a piece of legislation that's about to be passed, then there is no opportunity to speak because it's already done.
So, may I?
Go.
So this is the agenda for the meeting.
Okay,
Hold on, if I may, this is the agenda for the meeting, right? It has all of the legislation that's on the agenda for this evening. So a resident who would come to the meeting will have the opportunity to pick up one of these at the desk. They will have the opportunity to hear all of the committee reports, right, all of the administrative reports, and they will be able to read the titles of all of these legislations. The packet is also available online before our meetings. So if you are a resident who is concerned with the legislation, you will have had the opportunity before the meeting to read those legislation.
Get the full detail of it.
The full detail of it, and then be at the meeting and have 5 minutes to address council regarding any, all of those concerns. Typically, and well, not always, because sometimes we avail ourselves to procedural things that reduce this, but most legislation is read 3 times, which means that most legislation will be on the agenda 3 times, which gives residents 3 opportunities to speak to those pieces of legislation.
Oftentimes, legislation is not completed until the last reading. And it is until the last reading in those discussions that issues are brought up for the first time. And what I'm gonna suggest is that you put it, at least put that, if you're gonna cut it down to 5 minutes, which is 5 minutes less than it was before, then, or not, 4 minutes less than it was before. Yes, it is, because you were allowed 3 3-minute topics.
Go ahead.
That's the way that it works. Today, we've got a card, this is the other thing. I don't know why we're getting rid of the green card and not being able to comment on all the different sections. You know, or not all of them, but you were allowed to comment on 3 3-minute
So
things.
so-
And now, you keep chopping it down
So,
to the
Tony-
point, because if I could finish, please.
I'm trying to address your thing
Well,
before we
I'm
lose
not
track of
done.
it.
Right. It used to be that when I first started, it was 5 minutes, and then you had 5 minutes more to talk if someone said something. Then it went to 3-minute sections. Now, you're down to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
These meetings don't take that long, that you can't spend give a resident 3-minute opportunities to be able to express his concerns about things.
Okay.
And
So if we can go back to review, our legal counsel advised us on that, right? Because if you give the opportunity to speak at each one of these events, at each one of these sections of the agenda.
it's 3 minutes.
No, but you can't do that. That would be constitutionally prohibited, right? Because if you give the opportunity to speak at any one of these points, you can't keep someone from speaking at all of them. So our rules, as they have been constitutionally unenforceable. So by reducing it to a single opportunity, right, and increasing it from 3 minutes to 5 minutes, that was our discussion. Our discussion was, how do we give an optimal amount of time, right, which is 5 minutes. You can say an awful lot in 5 minutes, but not too much time. Because again, if we let someone, because there's actually 8 points on this card, right, so 8 times 3 is 24, right, plus citizens' comments, which then takes us up to 27 minutes that we would allow someone and have no recourse
Just
in
like
a
tonight,
meeting.
guys, this is all about me and coming to these meetings.
It's actually not. So I will also address, hold on, I will also address your concern about where it falls in the meeting, right? Because if we move the one opportunity after legislation, if it's a 3rd reading, that comment is no longer effective.
Well, I'll just get with
Right.
Nikki and we'll talk about redoing the rules of council.
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
talking to this group, that's why I've got very little to say tonight. Because I'm done beating my head against this wall, this group of people. And thank God we've got what I call the biggest change every 4 years, is there's basically 4 new members of council. It's a whole new ballgame,
There
when
you
it
go.
comes to getting things done over here. Thank you, Jason.
All right, and I think that, were there any other comments on the resolution 2021-36? No? I think we're up to roll call.
Alright. Did anybody second it?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, that was an hour ago, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Berger, Councilperson Benedetti,
No.
and Councilperson Sharp.
Okay, I just want to say again that if there were not an opportunity to to reopen this, immediately after the first of the year, I would vote no. But, since I know there is an opportunity, I will vote yes to
Well, Diane.
move forward with
If I may
this.
suggest that with Tony's no vote, it can't pass tonight anyways, so if you wanna
Oh,
vote your
okay.
conscience, vote your conscience.
Yeah, you're not holding up
You're not the
anything.
one, you're not the one killing it.
I think that, you know, there's, you know, in terms of the orderliness of the business and the insertion of the comments, that neither one is, that this is not a perfect, not even perfect solution, but I didn't really like the way this was done in the past. I would like some fresh eyes on it might be good in terms of looking at the actual
I win in the
flow
end
of the
anyway.
citizens. So,
Well,
anyway,
remember I said we should wait till a new council is settled to do this?
Yes, you did, Mark.
And I win in the end, without even trying.
So I think we still need to get Councilperson Shrimp's vote on the
Oh,
record.
sorry.
I guess at this point I could I say,
You can abstain too.
I could, but could I ask for it to be put on hold until
Table.
next year? Table, excuse me.
Procedurally to table at
Procedure
this
at this
point,
point after the,
I believe procedurally
I don't think
to,
after a vote's been called, you can table it.
yeah.
I don't
do
think
not
so
believe
either, I just thought I'd give
But
it a try.
if she votes, oh, this is interesting, if she votes no, it's a 2-2 tie.
But the mayor's tiebreaker still doesn't get us to the four that
Because
we
you
need to pass.
4, but it's not based on the majority we have present. for-
Right, it's
this is a
majority of
resolution,
council.
correct?
Yeah,
It's just the rules of council. It's not
doesn't
a law.
matter, it still has to, a resolution has to pass with a majority of council, which is 4.
Okay.
With Tony's no vote, and
Regardless
only
of how many
having.
people it is.
So the other thing we could do is we could keep on talking about it until David gets here. And then we could, with Diane's yes and his yes, we could pass it.
We could
But-
call a recess too, briefly,
Uh,
however you wanna do it.
He didn't get out of work until 7:23
Yeah, it takes
from
him
my text.
30
that he-
minutes.
Yeah, and so I don't know that,
He's imminent.
yeah, my only question is if we don't have adopted rules of council for the year, I'm sure the rule doesn't stop turning.
Yeah, I would imagine it's sort of like when you
You
don't.
just refer to the original ones. I
Yeah,
assume.
when
We
you-
haven't
when you
changed
don't get the-
rules.
I think the only thing we need to do is if we don't get these passed tonight, we just need to confer with Jesse to make sure that we don't need to have something passed for the start of the new year, cause if we do, we're gonna have to have at least 1, if not 3 meetings. Unless that's David. Hey!
We wasted
All right,
our
well,
time
good
on
thing,
that.
good
Glad you
thing
guys thought
Diane
these-
hasn't voiced her vote yet. All right. That's great. But now there's even more pressure on her. All right,
Now there's
David.
even more, there's pressure on him too,
Yeah.
because you gotta remember, this was a discussion.
He's coming in
of-
cold. All right, David, we're up to the rules of council, vote, and it's up to you.
Well, let me just give you a little back. Hold on a second. There's been some residents express concerns about the Pledge of Allegiance being taken out. I've also expressed concerns about changing the citizen comments portion, and consequently, I voted no, Diane's up in the air, and, they need your yes vote to get this passed. If that's what you feel I do.
Yeah, like I said, I was largely in support of
Welcome to the council meeting.
No pressure. Okay.
And it could come up again first,
Yeah.
in the first work session, so it's completely open for the new members
Yeah.
to bring it back up.
One of the residents that has expressed their concern with dropping it is one of the incoming council people, so it is within their prerogative to bring it up at the first work session for an amendment to the rules of council.
And I will bring it up at the first meeting too, so, there you go.
Okay, so what are the concerns, like I said, the pledge stuff I understand, and I can definitely understand both elements of that, so I guess that's not a deal breaker to me. My issue in this case would be the citizen comments changes, what have been some of the,
As the rules of council stand as they are drafted, it is 1 section for citizens' comments. Citizens'
Yeah.
comment is 5 minutes long, and it would sit after all of the administrative and committee reports,
yeah.
but before the reading of legislation.
Okay, yeah, I remember that being positive. We also increased the time, didn't
From
we?
3 minutes to 5 minutes.
Yeah, so that sounds like a positive, again, to the people
Right.
here who are upset about or concerned about the pledge of allegiance, I completely understand that,
Yeah.
as those who,
In deference to Councilperson Benedetti, I will point out that the previous rules of council, right, because we had the green cards that gave people the opportunity to speak after any of the committee reports, right, and the rules of council, while unconstitutionally enforceable, right, allowed for you to speak after 3 of these. So by that math, you would have 3, so that was 3 3-minute bites, so that's 9 minutes, plus then 3 minutes again at citizens' comments for a total of 12. But, right, so it is a reduction from a possible 12-minute total speaking if you have 12,
12.
right?
No.
Four 3-minute shots is 12 minutes.
3 minutes.
But you also have citizens' comments.
At
No,
the
that's
end.
not the way it was done.
Okay.
That's the way it's currently written, is what we're saying.
Right, that's the rules of council this year. So, to a single 5-minute bite.
okay.
But
So,
again,
seeing as
part-
we didn't do it that way, it's still an improvement in time.
I believe that it is an improvement in many regards, right? Both putting a more appropriate time for people to speak in the meeting, giving them the opportunity to have heard committee reports and administrative reports. I don't know how many times I've been in a meeting, someone say something in a report, and then they say, oh, I gotta talk about that, and run and go get a green card, fill it in, and bring it up to the desk.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, that has happened many, many times. Now, there would not need to be a rush. They can just wait until the appropriate time and address what they heard in that report and the
Yeah.
citizens' comment.
Just try to get up and rush in the middle of the meeting. Or-
Well, they won't need a green card because they'll just get up, they'll raise their hand at the citizens'
Keep my
comment
head
portion.
against the wall, bam, bam.
Okay, anybody else have a discussion about it?
The only thing I remember, and this maybe not, because a lot of people make assumptions without really, it's more like what happened before, but maybe not what's the law or the rule. But I remember when I did the rules of council 4 years ago, and the mayor at that time was insistent that we couldn't go forward without the rules of council being done the first of the year. So I'm not saying that's right or wrong, I'm just saying that that's what I was told at that time. So the only other reason I would think to vote yes would be, is that it's an obligation of the council to do this year. We did have a work session, we did talk about it,
Mhm.
and so
And we can modify it again. if
Majority-
the new council has the
majority
appetite to
rules
do
on
so.
this, yeah. The only use is if, here we go, David, if you're uncomfortable and you wanna vote no, I will vote no, and then they'll just have to pick it up next year.
Well.
That's a negotiation, I know that's not really.
What I will say is that what we would need to do is confer with our council to ensure that it is not in fact the case that we need rules of council adopted before the new year. Because if that is the case, then we will need to have, again, at least 1, if not 3, special council meetings before the end of the year.
Or before the first council meeting.
Why would you have
Council
that
meeting of the
three?
next year.
Because you have to.
Because
read it
3 readings, unless you are suggesting that we
But
would
this
then.
is the third reading.
Right, and we are in the voting, so the opportunity to table it, I believe, has passed.
So it would have to be voted down and then reintroduced as
Right,
new
we could-
legislation.
I believe the other opportunity is if it's voted down, we could procedurally vote
There's a
to,
motion to reconsider. and
yeah,
then
make a motion to
table.
reconsider and then table, yeah. But, again, so that we would need, like I said, at least 1, if not 3, more meetings.
Well,
I suggest that we make a motion to reconsider.
Well, that can't be made right now because we're in the middle of it.
Currently, and
We're
we're in
voting
the city, so no, we're voting a friend, so just,
Yeah.
you might wanna hang on a second.
But just as far as Robert's rules, we kind of pretty much follow what all legislations do. You can't vote
Hey,
to
Jesse, it's Eric.
table in the middle of, but it's already been put to a vote, the vote has to be resolved.
Right, so.
So I would like to get the opinion of those members of the community and future council who made the effort to show up and get their,
They are both in favor of the pledge,
okay.
Nikki and Anita.
Okay, so
And
the
he
And
didn't wait.
I'm more than
Hold
welcome
on.
to address that with the
current
council.
rules would carry forward if you did not.
I like
pass
to,
this
I'm in
tonight.
communication
Okay.
differences,
So I think-
changes, improvements.
Do you need some questions on the procedural stuff, or you could?
No, so if it fails, we just, the current rules carry.
Correct.
That's all we need to know,
That
so,
was me.
no extra meetings.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right, take care. Bye.
so,
He said he would be waiting by his phone.
Yes.
alright, so,
Mhm.
so a no would be, we stay the same and the new council as a whole addresses everything.
Right, we have to go back to the drawing board on rules of council.
Which we would for sure pick up the first meeting,
Well, yeah, we
the
had
work session.
Right.
Okay, well, in that case, there seems to be, you know, some appetite for the pledge to be at least discussed. So in the interest of respecting my, incoming peers, I would say no at this point, just to,
Alright, let's
Okay.
actually go ahead and do a roll call since we do have everybody here, let's just move forward. Now that we know it will,
We already did.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
we
gonna be,
have
we're gonna
another
do a
year.
roll call.
It
So we
was
can referee.
piecemeal, we can.
It was yes, and Tony was a no. Had you already voted?
Yes, I voted yes.
Council President Brewer voted yes.
shrimp is where we were at
Yeah.
the current, we were,
So shrimp is a no.
Right?
okay, I just wanted it for the record.
Yeah.
And then McNamara, sorry, Councilperson McNamara,
I would have to say no in that case, just, I want to be as inclusive as possible with the members of the incoming council, and it's not like, I definitely want to address those resident comments changes moving forward. The pledge I can see, like I said numerous times, both sides of, and I'd be probably perfectly comfortable with either solution, but the communication I definitely would be in favor of.
And I am willing to, since I did all the editing on the rules, and I would be willing to, since I'm part of, I'll be willing to do that again for you all if you decide to make the changes, okay?
Okay, well, moving on, that took care of our next problem. Moving on to resolution 2021-37, a resolution confirming the mayor's appointment of Michael Fout as a full-time police officer for the village of Mineral Park, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. I'm also planning to waive the readings on this. For those of you watching at home, that might seem weird, why are we doing it in a rush? I lost his name there. Michael Fout was hired on as a police officer. He is currently, I assume, is he one of the two going through training, Chief Dell?
That's correct.
This is not making him official forever, he still has his probation thing. This is just council saying, yes, we affirm that the village has hired a new police officer. And it has been brought to our attention that in the case of that, we should do it waiving readings as an emergency. So it's like, we hired him and we're just putting the stamp saying, yes, he was hired, now let's see if he works out. So I will start by moving to waive the second and third readings.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
alright,
Anyone have any discussion?
I'll do my thing at the end of the probationary period.
we will wait for it. Alright, Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilperson Tripp,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruder.
Aye.
Alright,
All right, we have waived the readings. And now I will move that we pass it, adopt it.
Second.
Any discussion on poor Michael? All right,
Councilperson Bruder,
aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Tripp,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
and Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Alright. And that concludes legislation.
There we go.
Oh, that was fun. Okay.
That lasted just long enough, we needed to wait for Dave to
I
get
know.
here anyway, so we could get poor Michael confirmed that he was in fact hired.
Alright. See, you saved the day. You didn't even know it. Alright, let's go to old business. Anybody?
Excuse me.
Alright, new business. I have
Today's my present to everyone, I'm not gonna say.
Thank you.
my goodness,
Happy
it was-
holidays.
It's like
Happy
Christmas Carol.
holiday.
That's my present to you guys, but guess what?
Yeah.
We'll
Sure,
see you
it's new business.
January what?
January 13th.
13th, we'll see ya.
We'll see you then.
The only thing I wanna say
Something like
is the swearing in for the 4, new incoming council and repeating council, is gonna be 6:30 PM on January 3rd. So if anybody wants to come, that's where we'll be, January 3rd, 6:30 PM.
Chief
That's
Delp
not a
had,
meeting, it's just this morning.
just a swearing in.
It's technically a special meeting.
Chief Delp had something to add?
For new business?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor, since you threw out all the things, thank you for your support and all your work that you've done the last 2 years, especially coming in during a pandemic was a really tough year, so appreciate it.
Yeah, I come in and bring everything with me apparently, COVID and all. Thank you.
6:30.
Anybody else with new, Diane?
I just wanted to also thank the mayor for, she came in, again, it's been, we shared 2 years. I shared 2 years with the previous mayor and 2 years with the new mayor. And of course, the transition was not an easy one from the old to the new. A lot of bumps in the road, but the mayor and her team survived all that. And really pretty smooth running operation, and so I appreciate, the mayor was always willing to listen to me regardless, and that is something I did not have from the first mayor, so don't take for granted. It can be, politics can be an ugly, ugly thing, but I'm hoping that you all have the ability to agree to disagree in a professional manner and negotiate and compromise. I hope wish that for everybody going forward. And thank you guys over here too, all you guys. It's been a pleasure.
I'm sure we'll see you. That much, that
Yeah, I
much.
think you will.
You're welcome to speak at any time, I mean, come on down.
All right,
Don't make me do it. That's
Citizens
what-
comments?
yes, citizen comments.
Did you have anything to say, sir? You're here.
For anybody that doesn't know.
Everyone else got to
This
talk.
is the other,
Sorry.
what are the other new incoming?
Oh, this is one,
Yes.
okay.
That's why I wanted to make sure you guys knew, yeah.
Okay.
Anybody got anything to say? Are you ready for all this? All right.
Are you the gentleman from the MI section? Oh, good, good. I was hoping to get someone representing there.
All right, move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in
Man, we
favor?
got everyone
Aye.
on that one.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Guys, there's
Appreciate it.
cookies, cupcakes, a
Pleasure.
couple
See you
little
again
things
in a
over
year.
there, so
Yeah.
come on the way out.
Disappointed, I was ready for your zoning nonsense. Really, would send me an email. I don't like writing things.
So